Anyway, everyone, welcome to episode 2 of season 1 of Between Two Keepstars. I'm your host, Crom X, or Riker, or whichever you want to call me, and I'm joined by two marvelous guests. You guys want to quickly introduce yourself? Jayson?
Sorry, I was on the phone with my wife. Hi, Jayson. Dog. Concordia director, been playing since 2012. That's it.
Alright, and we also have Persistence here, who I think is a little AFK, but that's fine.
Yeah, no, I'm back.
Oh.
Cool, yeah. Hi.
Anyway, Persistence, you want to tell a little bit about yourself?
Oh, okay. I'm in PanFam. I'm a part of the corp called Infinite and Probable Industries for 2IN. I occasionally FC, and then I just meme around in Fountain and Delve. That's about it.
So before we actually get started, a few announcements. One announcement is that the show now has a YouTube channel, and just in case you missed the Sunday showing, the show goes live on YouTube every Monday at 5 o'clock General Mountain Time, U.S. So like the West Coast U.S. at 5. Yeah. So we've got a lot. Well, not really a lot. Things happen this week. Some things great, some things not so great, and some things that will make me personally a little bit depressed, but that's neither here nor there. First thing that happened was a battle in YTAC 2 happened. I believe it was to anchor a Fortizar off the after the Y2 Keepstar. Goons came in with a lot of guys, like totally wiped out the PanFam fleet, but to my knowledge, it was a fleet of Feroxes, and Goons brought like battleships, capitals, and just a whole mess of shit to wipe out a single Ferox fleet.
Yeah, basically how it went down.
Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, like, it wasn't like we had to jump to regional and get into set XP. It's like it was like an optional. We'd rather like not sit on the Fortizar for 15 minutes and do absolutely nothing. So like we were just trying to get out of the fight, and we got it, but it was a little too much for us to handle.
So it was about having fun.
Yeah, basically, because like as soon as you cross that border into Delve, it's just like you either stay in the fountain and have like basically no content, or you cross over and you get like a ton of content. So it's like pick your poison basically, and it's I think at this point it's just better to go in.
Well, and it's all about morale, right? Because yes, you can play it safe and just have your fleet sit on an anchoring Fortizar for 15 minutes as it does its last little repair timer, and that's not fun. That doesn't really help morale. Then again, I don't know if losing an entire Ferox fleet helps morale either, but it does help with the fun, and the best way to keep guys going is to keep them having fun.
Yeah,
Would you agree?
but like I don't think it's really a morale thing, really, because like it's just like, do you really consider like getting like a ton of Feroxes killed on the regional gate like a morale boost? Not really, but like it would have been like if it was just purely morale, like it would have been better to just not have jumped the regional. But it's just like you're always trying to take a chance with these fights.
All right, yeah, that makes sense. So after that, so if anyone in the audience has heard, Imperium's been herf blurfing a whole lot about the fact that they put not 70 but 69 Athenors in test space.
Nice.
Now, originally, I thought that, they put it all over test space. Okay, I can't believe I keep saying, it's a situation where, oh god, there are legitimately a bunch of citadels all over test space, and goons are using them, and it's just bad. Well, over the week, I personally found out that that wasn't the case. In fact, it was not 70 citadels. Well, okay, technically citadels, but I personally don't really like, when I think citadels, I think like Asterhuses and shit like that. But no, it was 70 Athenors in the same system, fully armed and fully ready in the same system.
For what?
I have no idea. Like,
Troll. That's all it was.
well, here's the thing, right? Because I was talking with some guys on Trash Talk Tuesday on, I think it was, no, Tuesday, and I think it was Brisk who said, yeah, no, this is really funny. And Billy said, well, I mean, it's kind of retarded. Like, the way he described it is, okay, they just put 70 Athenors in the same system. Okay, that must have been just a troll. And they just armed them. And they just fueled them. And then nothing else was done with them. They were just sat there in a system.
Yeah, because strategically you can't do much with that. And the way Billy basically put it was like, we're not going to be grinding them or setting like strat ops for them. It's basically kind of what DF Standing's been doing in Fountain, where it's just, okay, well, there's this structure here. If you're bored, go shoot it. You know, you're not going to have anyone shooting back at you, and there's 69 to choose from. So,
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's just, the part that I find interesting is that you had goons totally hyping this. Like, Matani was going off about saying how, you know, this is amazing, test is crap, they didn't do anything. Well, of course they didn't do anything, because you put them in the same system and just abandoned them. I think this morning on Talking Stations, they literally said, yeah, no, they've all been abandoned and we finally killed them all. So, goons wasted maybe 60, 69 bill on those.
is that how much they are? I thought they were cheap.
I mean,
But with like fully fitted, like I would
True.
think that
it's an approximation, because like I know to fit up an Asterhus, it's like 2 billion, and yeah, unless they put like drills on them, which I hope they didn't actually put drills on all of them. I don't see the point to that. Which actually brings me to another topic about citadels. Holy crap. Just in the past like week, goon citadels have actually like been killing stuff. Like the last few citadels that I shot today, like they were blapping bombers left and right. Which I guess turns it from a, oh hey, we're just AFK shooting structures in Fountain, to a, okay, well now I actually kind of need to pay attention. But hey,
Yeah,
at least someone's having fun.
As a bomber, you got to do the whole cloak up, decloak kind of action, unless you just get critical mass where they just can't really care about you at that point. There's wrecks around every single structure at this point, just people going in thinking they can AFK it. But yeah, some people lose more expensive stuff than bombers though on those little structure bashes.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's unfortunate for those people. I mean, it happens. So, speaking of structure bash,
yeah, that's a segue to something you need to mention.
you mean how test moved supers using a northern Keepstar highway up into Fountain? Because I'm pretty sure that's the next topic.
are you referencing the martial loss then?
Yeah. Was it? Did anyone? I thought someone posted about it on Reddit, but maybe not. All I know is in a lot of the Discord channels, it was talked about, which was pretty hilarious.
My question: wait, someone lost the marshal?
Yeah.
Sucks for that guy then.
So like Concordiate, fucking one of the courtmates for Concordiate, Riker, decided to like bring a marshal along for the final 4 timers. I think it was the kill timer. Yeah, And then this man was not in the fleet and was starting to get primaried by the fort. So like when he started taking damage, he warped off. No, he didn't warp off, he booshed off, which made him like unable to be in range of the Logi. And because it's only 100 kilometers and the Keepstar, like a fort's targeting range is like what 300, the fort was still able to shoot it, and as a result, he just like got dunked on.
Let's say Riker's one of my characters, and I guarantee you that didn't happen because like I know a marshal died, but there was a horde, like someone
Dude,
in
I'm
horde
really
is on the
looking
kill
at
map.
the kill board, and it says Riker 514. Like, what more proof do you? I watched that man die in front of my eyes.
I didn't, and I'm him. I don't know. Like maybe you were looking at it, and maybe what you saw was actually a goon because I did
You
see a
know
marshal
what,
die.
Karma? I just think you're like very delusional. I think at this point, you've in trying to counteract the goon Kool-Aid, you yourself have drunk your own Kool-Aid, and yeah, we've lost hope here.
I don't know, man. But no, I'm gonna turn down the spin a little bit because I was like losing track of my own spin. But yes, no, I did lose a marshal this week, and it did kind of suck, but not really because honestly, it killed way more than it was worth because it got on like multiple. Well, it got on one faction fort, and then it actually two technically. I'll have to go back and look. But yeah, and actually to explain the why I jumped out and why I went away from the Logi wouldn't have actually helped it because it was shield tank. Although booshing away probably wasn't the smartest idea. Because my thought was, all right, if I boosh away, I won't be in range of the painter, which is blowing up my SIG and making me super easy to get murdered by the missile.
But your battleship was shield tank, so your SIG is already like fucked up in the first place, right? So
See,
like
that's the part I didn't think about.
And then the argument of, well, it's killed more than it's worth. I mean, I have an Augur Navy issue that's killed a lot more than it's worth. Probably more than the Marshals killed.
Probably, especially because like we use beam bricks all the time.
My thing is, and what's like pretty cool about Horde in general is like if you can use it, go ahead, like whatever, but don't cry when you lose it, kind of thing. Like in other alliances, you'd have dudes going down your throat, like trying to get you kicked and all that kind of nonsense. So,
I mean,
cool.
when I lost my Panther, people went down my throat. It was so bad that people totally ignored the fact that we just fed 20 bill worth of blocks. So yeah,
What alliance was that in for reference for other people?
it was in PL when Waffles joined PL for like I think like a month. It was a very short-lived thing. But
Moral of the story is if you're going to meme, you got to be persistent, apparently, because he's allowed to lose anything he wants.
Yeah.
I mean, I lost and I didn't get shit for it, so although I'm out of Marshall, which I guess is kind of okay because honestly it really wasn't doing anything anyway. It was pretty much just it was basically an 8 bill hanger ornament. So from my point of view, I'm glad it at least saw action.
Yeah, and I'd count yourself lucky because if you look up Marshall on Zkill, it's like green, 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 and then there's 2 deaths back to back because lucky enough, someone from Brothers of Tangra lost theirs like an hour later.
Yeah, so I'm not the last person to lose a Marshall. Also, according to Alexis Lambert in the Discord, persistence is a dirty feeder.
Okay.
So
I'm not going to deny that.
I don't think anyone's gonna deny it. Like, it's confirmed. Like, you are the balance on our kill board. All these forts, all these Keepstars, all these Athenors, everything we're killing, and then you just have a little like persistence nester that gets lost in the middle of it. You know, just gotta do that every so often.
So, but yeah, Fountain was honestly, like, looking back, I'm glad I brought it to Fountain. I'm not glad that I lost it. Probably not gonna buy another one, even though I said I was, because I can buy like 2 blobs and then fit them pretty well with the amount of money that it costs for that Marshall. So yeah, yeah.
Okay, we can move on.
You guys
We can
wanna
move on.
say?
I'm satisfied. We can move on to the next topic.
All right. So next topic we've got Imperium tests. They're both blue donuts. Test moves a bunch of supers. So, apparently Alexa says they'll sell me theirs. Maybe. By the way, guys, if you want to join in on the conversation, join the Discord in the description, or I don't know what it's called. Yeah, the little Discord button next to the name. So yeah, Test moves a bunch of supers north using Keepstar Highway. What do you guys think?
I think it's just a lot of flexing. Like, the only thing the supers can be used for, in my opinion, until we actually start trying to get into Fountain, is just for like this, like taking down those Keepstars in the larger structures, and then like not committing subcaps. Because like I feel like it's a lot of work with subcaps, so especially with the Keepstar. So, I mean, yeah, like nothing, super duper like huge is gonna happen with them until like there's an actual plan in place, which I have no clue about.
Well, to my knowledge, and I'm pretty sure this is public at this point, I know supers have been used to like shoot big structures because they can sit out at a ridiculous fucking range and just pelt it
Yeah,
until it's dead.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's just gonna be used for like not wasting subcap time on structures. That's just gonna be a pain to like shoot at, especially the two Keepstars, YTech 2 and the KVN. Now, whether or not they'll be used that frequently, or if it's just flexing, well, it's to be seen.
Yeah,
Well,
and I'm
the big thing with the Keepstar Highway is that as a super pilot, or anybody really, you are able to traverse across the universe without having to be on one of these big move fleets. Because I mean, you're in a super, you can dock up on that Keepstar immediately. You don't have to wait for these big move fleets for the security. You can show up a little bit late, a couple days late, week late, whatever, and still get your super Titan in to the warfront. But yeah, what we've seen so far is just structure bashing, all that. But I think it's all going to change when stealth comes. There's going to be a big super fight that kind of determines how the rest of the supers are going to get used for the remainder of this engagement.
I mean, like for me personally, I'm glad that we're actually starting to see supers being used because hopefully it'll draw. Like Goon said that they won't be drawn out at all, but I'm personally hoping that maybe they'll come and try to attack one of our super blobs because that just means that, oh, hey, goons are attacking. Okay, let's hit them with dread. And I can actually use my anti-cap dread.
It's gonna be like very rare if that happens, like because it's a regional type of cross and they can't really project that far. So once they jump the regional to Fountain, we can like instantly like drop on them in YTAC 2. So it's rarely gonna happen. It might happen, I wouldn't be surprised, but at the same time, like the likelihood of that's pretty low.
I mean, you don't expect everything to be staged out of Fountain forever, though. Like, eventually things are going to start being staged inside.
The thing is like with Delve, like do you really think it's a good idea to move staging into Delve? Because like, if you do that, then you're within direct super range from 1D Kia, which is their fortress, right? So there's really no sound place for you to like move the staging into Delve without being under like a super cap umbrella that's hostile.
So what's the point of bringing supers over in any, like, what's the point then?
Yeah, just to accelerate like the structure bashes that left over, like the 2 Keepstars. I'm sure at some point like there's going to be an op where we do commit like supers or titans. Like at some point there's going to be those kind of fights, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, or at least not until like the 2 Keepstars go down.
Oh, okay. So you're talking way short. Okay, I was talking more like implying the 2 Keepstars are done and Fountain cleanup has been finished.
It might happen, but like I think we're in a pretty comfortable like area in Fountain at this point, so like to continually move may not be a good idea. Like I honestly don't know. Like I don't know how these logistics really work, but yeah.
Well, the Fountain cleanup's been like it's definitely been going well. Like yesterday we had like 14, 15 structures that we had to kill. I have no idea how many we killed, but I know I got on
19.
like 6. Okay, never
Or
mind.
19
So
total
19
refs
structures.
and kills or something like that. I don't know the exact number, but it was significant.
So we made a lot of headway yesterday. And I know today I was able to get on like, I think it was 4 kills today. It was 1 Sotio and a few Athenors, which those Athenors, they definitely killed some shit. There's no way they killed the amount that they're worth, but they were definitely gunned and they were popping bombers left and right.
Yeah. Yeah, right now we have 20 kill time.
Sorry, you cut out for a little bit.
Oof. 20 kill timers are active, 5 being 4.
Okay, so Jayson keeps cutting out.
Oh my gosh, what is going on? Okay, there you go. So 20 kill timers, 5 Fortizars, and 1 Keepstar everybody knows about in KBN. Yeah. In the next, like, that's what's available right now. So already ref. So there's a few armor timers coming out in that time as well, but gee.
So yeah, a lot of shit that we need to kill. But with the current, with what we've been doing and using supers, I honestly think that it's going to be pretty easy. And goons have said, especially on the meta show, that they're not going to go in and actually contest those. Granted, it is the meta show, so that may or may not be true or false. We'll just have to wait and see. But if there's not going to be fights, there's definitely going to be kills. Which brings us on to our next topic. Not really. Oh, actually it does. So this was actually interesting. The KVN Keepstar was just reinforced by, what was it, Eternity? And it immediately repaired. Like, there was no contesting. It just repaired. Why that happened? So from what I've seen, it's that we weren't quote unquote ready to like actually go through with the armor timer. I don't know how true that is, but I know that the goon spin is that we had to slow down and pull back our troops and not do as many timers because quote unquote we don't have a plan for Delve. Granted, that's all goon spin, and I have no idea if it's true or not. So I'm gonna turn it to you guys who actually might have some insight to this, because I'm be real, I have no idea what that was about.
Wait, are you talking Y2? Y2, right? Okay,
Keepstar that
So like
literally just repaired.
from what I can tell, like I think the good thing about like those two Keepstars coming out at the same time is like it gives like us like flexibility on which target to attack, because you know you don't like if we shot both of the Keepstars at the same time, right? It's like more of like which one are we more comfortable shooting, and which like goons may have to split their forces and deciding whichever one that they need to defend if they were going to defend. Obviously, they didn't with KVN. But it also might be true that Fraternity or Windico was doing something else. So like, yeah, but it's not like a bad thing per se.
Yeah, no, it definitely didn't seem like a bad thing. It was just like, oh, this Keepstar just repaired. All right, well, I guess it's staying true to its name, the Keep Trying Star. But other than that, it was just like, oh, okay, it repaired. Although, come to think about it, it does kind of make more sense with the whole like splitting the forces. Because let's say we did go after both at the same time. We could very easily get into a situation where we're totally outnumbered, totally outgunned in Y2, and we just lose everything because we diverted too many forces towards KVN. So I think killing KVN and focusing on that first allowed it to say, okay, KVN's dead. Now we only have one Keepstar. We don't need to worry about diverging or splitting our forces to get something done.
Yeah, and maybe it is true that we're just kind of spreading it out a little bit to give us more time to consolidate for Delph. Like, I don't think that is too far out of the realm of possibility.
Well, yeah, and because like once we get to Delve, it's going to be a totally different. Like everything's going to be different. Like nobody can deny that. Which I think it's kind of interesting that the Matani keeps saying that. Oh, you guys think it's going to be easy. Well, no one ever said that. That was made very clear from the beginning, and Billy said it many, many times. Like we know this stuff isn't going to be easy. You're not fooling anyone. Type thing.
Yeah, we thought we'd still be Northern Fountain right around now.
Yeah, like me personally, I expect this war to go on. I hope this war goes on for another year or two. Like that would be so cool because that means that we are constantly fighting, getting content, and stuff's exploding. Because this war has been pretty amazing for content. Like if there's not a kill timer or a fleet going out, well, there always is. And if there's no content going on and you're complaining about not having content, well, you should step up, type thing.
Agreed. Yeah, it's nice being this close to the bad guys.
I mean, there's literally targets. Like you can undock and like, oh, hey, there's targets. Like last night, Concordia was attempting to blops on a nano gang, which wasn't really working out too much. We were less than effective. But we tried, and we got our whole blopsing thing down on how to like do it and just going through the motions, which I mean I think is good. Would have been even better if we would have gotten some kills, but when you're going after a nano gang with bombers, I don't really think it's going to end well. I think it's actually going to end very, very badly. I'm surprised that more people didn't die. So, but hopefully we can get some kills coming Delve.
Is that Concordia's tagline? Not very effective.
Not very effective against nano gangs, at least.
Oh, okay.
I mean, our corp. I don't want to say our corp used to be the king of nano gangs because honestly, all we did was we just put a massive prop mod on like a cruiser, or I think it was a battleship size prop mod on a cruiser, and just somehow won.
That's Securitas for you.
Like, and here's the thing, like, I remember I was on a fleet with Securitas where I was tackled, damped, everything, but it was against like it was against a mining barge fleet. It was some Rome event. Anyway, I was tackled by a bunch of mining barges, and they were all attacking me, like 50 procurers. And I'm just sitting here like, yeah, all my drones are dead, and I can't really do anything. But we had a bunch of people in Basilisk just sitting there repairing me. So here I am, my shield's going up, down, and I can't really do anything because they're all out of my range of missiles, and all my drones are dead. So it was literally, all right, well, I guess I'll go get a drink, maybe get something to eat. Like, that was the entire fleet for me because I was hit by so much evil. But somehow we won, and the result was a very angry Reddit post because we killed a quote-unquote birthday fleet, which, like, I'm sorry, I don't... If you're going to take out a fleet and you're going to go Roman nullsec, expecting a fight...
Wait, hold on. So was this Imperium that complained about this?
No, this was just some random, like... I don't want to say it was Spectre Fleet, but I think it might have been Spectre Fleet. It was one of those public roam things.
Okay, yeah. Because, like, if that was Imperium, then I could just, like, point the finger at, like, Thelzar's birthday rooms, like, look, you guys, like, dropped, like, 2 fucking marshals, like, 3 super carriers, and, like, a fucking jackdaw fleet on us, but I guess with Spectre Fleet, just more valid criticism, I guess.
Yeah.
But, like,
Yeah.
at the same time, like, you can't really, at these days, you just can't expect, like, quote-unquote fair fights to happen in nullsec, especially with, like, the war going on.
Oh yeah, because like in nullsec, like people don't. First off, like I didn't even know, and I'm sure Securitas didn't even know it was a birthday fleet, or maybe he did. I have no idea. Anyway, birthday fleet or not, if you bring ships into space that I'm living in, and I see that you're in something engageable like a fleet of mining ships, I'm gonna bring something that I know can just hell dunk you and then laugh in your face. After saying good fight, because you need the good fight. However, in return, I expect someone to do that to me. Which,
Poor miners.
I mean, they could have brought something else. There's nothing saying that they couldn't have brought like caracals or something, but they brought mining ships, which honestly is pretty funny. It's just don't be surprised when it gets murked by a fleet of Helas, because Helas are stupid OP, and I keep saying that, hey, CD it should fly Helas again.
That's like setting up a gate camp for a Corvette death race level of.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna need some explaining on that. What?
Oh, that's all
So,
persistence.
yeah, so, like, I was just super bored, and, like, Alexis from Swig or Snig, or like Snigwaff or like Swigwaff or whatever it's called at this point. Like, I can't keep up. Like, one of the waffles things, he like was suggesting about like, oh, I'm gonna bring like 20 million shuttles down. It's like, let's just do like a Corvette like race to the other side of Delph. Because like at the time, like nothing was out, nothing was pinged. So it's like, hey, why not? Let's just do a race and like test the Delph gate camps and see how good they actually are. They were pretty good, I guess. I mean, only like what 5 of our guys actually made it. So, but I thought it was gonna be pretty funny, honestly, and it was.
So as an FC for Horde, you saw nothing was going on. There's no pings, and instead of doing something strategically reasonable, you had a Corvette death race
Yeah.
started.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. Because
checks
like
out.
I just did not want to do another like actual strategic fleet,
Hey,
and
don't
like
shoot
I
your
was,
structure.
yeah, no, I was pretty sure that something was gonna go on by then. So just like a quick like race to the death, and then yeah.
It's kind of like when we were doing bashing and we got to our next target too quick. So FC took us and we did a couple havens with a 150 man mutant fleet.
Yep.
Or Eagle fleet, that's what it was.
Oh yeah, no. Apparently, according to the guys in Fleet Comms, apparently they fucking formed a munin gang, like 40 like mutants and like 7 simis to like chase after the racers. And then like right at the ZXB gate in 5 taxi, they like blobsed in like 7 battleships and like a lift and like a carrier or dread, I can't remember, but like they really like tried their best to like stop us from racing to the end of the finish line. And the thing is, I was wondering where Sam went because like he wasn't with the rest of the fleet. I was like, where is this guy? And apparently he fucking jump cloned into an NPC station in Delve, and on the last little tiny bit of the run, he just jumps into an interceptor, just goes through to the G Magic side of TCAG, right? So I had to fucking disqualify him because that's literally fucking cheating. I was pretty salty about that.
Oh yeah, I like the idea of pod racing. It's legit. You gotta
instead
allow
of,
people
like,
to shoot each other though.
But instead of like high tech hover cars, it's like actual pods.
Ugh.
That
Yeah, I'm planning to do another one pretty soon, sometime this week, because I have, ironically, like a little bit more free time.
So you think we're gonna have a 1 bill Corvette loss coming up?
I hope so. It'll be pretty funny to look at.
Gonna
Like-
have an officer Corvette going down.
Jesus. No, like I was also talking in the CapF Discord. It's like, you know what? Let's do a Nestor race. Everyone just gets into a Nestor, and they just try to race to the other side
Ugh.
to TCAG. I thought that'd be pretty funny, but it's a bit expensive, honestly.
I mean, that might actually end up in like a fight. Because like if
But,
we're all
like-
like combat fit,
No, we'd be all fit for like speed and like
Yeah, hyperspatials, nano, everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like you get newer FCs or whatever that are just, oh, let's do a battleship roam. That'd be so fun. That'd be so cool. And it's like 5 jumps into it, you hate yourself. Exactly what it'd be. It's just too slow.
I mean, I've roamed in a battleship before, and yeah, it was pretty much just like that to the point where I just said, you know what? I'm just gonna go through Delve. The minute I jump into Delve, all of a sudden, oh look, there's 60 interceptors. Thankfully, there were no jams because that was back when the when jams actually like prevented you from locking anything. Which, oh my god, I genuinely hated that. Like there was nothing worse than, hey, I'm gonna try to solo roam and run around in a battleship, and all of a sudden, oh, I can't target anything. Oh, look, I'm dead. Like, I don't care if I die in a battleship, but if I can get at least 2 kills, I think that's killboard green. If I can get a fight, that's even better.
right, yeah.
Because like, again, I'm not doing it. I'm not roaming in the battleship to go and be elite. I'm going roving null second in battleship because I just want to get a good fight. If I wanted to be elite, I could just do blobs or something and then fail at that and lose a marshal.
Yeah, Marshall, bro.
Yeah.
You know what? That's what you need. You need a duo fleet. Persistence and a Nestor, you and a Marshall, and see how fast you guys die.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Well, no. So actually, it's not even Marshall's the worst thing I'm notorious for losing. It used to be rattlesnakes because when I first joined Concordia, I thought the rattlesnake was just the greatest ship ever. I mean, relatively speaking, it's a pretty awesome ship. Anyway, so I would always go out and rat in a one build rattlesnake, and every time I would go out, I would almost immediately lose it. Like I would lose maybe 1 or 2 rattlesnakes a week, and this was at the point where I was just like, all right, well, I guess I'm just going to start buying Plex to replace my rattlesnakes because I can't do it with money. The amount of money CCP made off of me during that time, I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, same here for my when I was doing my internship. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna set my limit to like $20 worth of Plex like every like 2 weeks. And like I got paid enough to like for that to be minimal, but still.
Yeah, now that I'm out of the house and like don't have very many big bills, especially because I'm living with multiple roommates. And multiple roommates, let me tell you, they really help to really shoot down rent. But that coupled with the fact that I'm working 40 hours a week, oh boy,
Yeah.
CCP probably loves me.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, dude, I used to rat all the time, but now that I have 2 kids, like that ain't happening. But I have a better job, so I can rat in real life and be good to go.
Right, yeah.
Right in real life, I love it.
Okay, I need to head out early because I have like real life stuff to do. But I'll see you guys later.
All right, thanks for coming.
See,
So we're about 40 minutes into the show, and we've got one other topic, the Asher post, because God damn it, I was going to make sure we got to this, and I wanted to make sure we covered everything. Which, like, here's the thing, right? Like, the minute now that we're actually onto the Asher post, if I didn't cover everything beforehand, we weren't going to get to it. Like, that's been the number one thing, which I guess is kind of good for this show of like not getting to everything.
yeah, it was a slower
But
week though.
yeah, like thankfully, or not thankfully, it's a little bit of both. Because like it's great that it was a slow week because that means that we can spend more time on stuff. But when you don't have as many people talking, we blow through stuff. But in this case, it's good because now we're going to get onto the Asher post, which if you guys haven't seen, I will actually link it here. But TLDR is that Asher Elias, a well-known Goon FC, took to Reddit and basically made a post about how goons are actually the good guys. And the title simply reads, Why goons are the quote-unquote good guys of Eve? An essay by Asher. And Jason, you want to give your thoughts on this while I pull it up?
Oh, sure. I mean, it's been kind of weird seeing like goons kind of backpedal from their original manifesto statement, whatever you want to call it, of we're not here to ruin the game, we're here to ruin your game. They've always kind of set themselves up as the big bads, and they've played it well. Matani's a good heel. Like, he's pretty good at that, WWE wrestler stuff. It just seemed weird that he took a lot of time and effort into like this essay stating that, like, hey, we're actually the good guys now, like we've changed a lot over the years, and da da da. Yeah, it was kind of bewildering, like, honestly, like a lot of the situations and that have transpired over the years. I mean, everybody in Eve has changed. The internet's changed in the past like 4 years. You just can't say and do the things you used to do. And just because you were a part of that change doesn't mean that you were the only one to change. I think the lull in coalition combat that there's been the last few years has probably helped their overall image of themselves when it comes to like Eve as a whole. But I'd argue that with that lull, it just kept everything static.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like the big grand like overall relationships each of the major alliances have with each other, I don't think anyone's seen like goons are good guys kind of change happen at all.
So I'm starting to read the post a little bit and going through it, and honestly, I just want to say like this is actually pretty well written, and thank God there are a few points that Asher wrote, and one actually other point that he made, which was about the Mittani. I think one of the reasons why goons get such a bad rap is because the Mittani. He's seen as this sort of space dictator almost, and every week he gets on the meta show and, in his own words, makes fun of and shoots puppies. But what I think a lot of people don't realize is that that's just like an act. Like that's not the real Mittani. I mean, okay, technically that is the Mittani as a character, but like the actual person, he's not like that. And part of the proof was actually in the post that you can link, that I'm going to link in chat, but it basically is an example of the Mittani being a good person. Basically, the TLDR of it was that he was talking to one of his FCs and basically said, "Hey, dude, just want to say you're doing a great job. Keep up the good work. Normally, I would have wanted to argue with a lot of your decisions, but normally, like, not normally, but recently you've just been on point." And while that isn't like weird to see a leader do, because like, leaders do that all the time, you've got the Mittani who, how am I going to say this? A lot of people know the Mittani for doing a lot of spin, and all the times, he's constantly praising his guys and saying that, like, yeah, our guys are the greatest, our people are going to survive, yada, yada, yada. But a lot of people might not believe that, because I know, as a member of PanFan, like, Gobbins really appreciates all the work we do. And he tells us through pains. However, I've never really talked to the guy. And granted, I'm just a blind member, so I don't really have much of a reason to talk to Gobbins. And so I've never convoed him. But here you have the Mittani convoying one of his FCs and saying, hey, good job, dude. I guess I don't want to say it's better than what anyone else does. Help me out with this, Jason. What am I trying to say?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, but I think the general consensus is like goons aren't a EVE Online product. They're a product of the Something Awful forums, and it seems that whatever game they gravitate to, like as a Something Awful group, they kind of have the same like douchebag reputation. They kind of play it that way wherever they go, and that's probably it's a product of those forums, and that's fine. I mean, there's a lot of the older goons and the newer goons kind of see things differently, but as a whole, that culture seems to have been developed and accepted over there.
Well, originally, like, you look at goons prior to the whole Mittens doing the whole cultural revolution. Like, yes, he's admitted that yes, goons were shitlords, but he worked hard to try to get goons to a place where they weren't quote unquote shitlords. And he actually, yesterday on the Meta Show, he talked about how goons handled stuff differently than other alliances. Whereas if, let's say, a high profile guy gets kicked, another alliance might make a big post about it and say like, hey, listen, we did this, here's why. Whereas goons, like, they don't really deal in public, they just handle it privately and then just make they don't make a big thing about it. They just handle it and then don't say anything about it. And I think that has gotten them into a situation where it's almost like people think that goons approve of it, when in actuality they don't. They just didn't go out publicly. In essence, they didn't air out their trash for the world to see because it was like, why do it? The thing that Digi did actually came up where he essentially doxed people and tried to pretty much out someone and really screw up their life. From what the Matani said, he said that yeah, that wasn't cool, and we internally handled it and got rid of him. But nobody saw that. Like nobody saw that there were repercussions of his actions, and that I think definitely did hurt goons and really helped to give them a bad reputation, which honestly is kind of messed up because like why I don't know, like the whole idea of like you need, when something bad happens, you need to like immediately say like, yes, you know, we did something about it, we took care of it, yada yada yada. Because like even if you take care of it, right, and you do what you think was right, people are still gonna find some way to hate you. Like that's just how the world works. Like the whole GigX thing, right? People are still yelling free GigX. Well, it turns out GigX was kind of an asshole. Like it wasn't like people comparing the Matani hat incident to GigX. Like there's no comparison because you've got the Matani who like, yes, he fucked up. And he has publicly said numerous times that he fucked up. It was a bad decision. He's made amends for it, and he regrets it. Whereas you've got GigX, who I don't think said anything, not even an apology to the judge. Like, I don't know. Like, what do you think about it, Jayson?
Yeah, I mean, just some big picture stuff. Getting back to what Asher like actually was like talking about. It's kind of like he was having the whole thing like, well, goons have grown, goons have changed. You know, we've gotten better. The problem is though that when a line member or any member does the thing that was state sanctioned before, like doxing, right? Like it's still, they aren't necessarily punished for it and they're just tolerated, or they just turn a blind eye to it. And I think like what I said earlier is just kind of the culture thing, whether that's like an SA culture thing or like Eve Goons culture thing, I don't know. But just from like a third party observer, I don't really see that kind of culture in a lot of other places. Like, yeah, you have like Tess kind of is Tess kind of has the whole like shit poster thing on lockdown, and they often take things too far for their line members. But I don't know. I think that's just like what I said earlier, how the internet was different 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and you still have guys that are holding on to that, and you have people that want to keep things how it was. So what that the organization as a whole, or like as a sanctioned activity, so what, that's not happening anymore, but it's still happening in your membership, and it doesn't seem like there's been made an effort to remove that activity from your membership. And yeah, whatever.
And again, like I don't think like we can really say that. Like, I mean, there are definitely a lot of people with stories about how goons like totally screwed them over, and we'll actually get into one a little bit, well, right before the show ends. But before we divert from the Asher post, I wanted to actually go over a few bullet points which, by the way, Asher, if you ever see this, thank you for putting bullet points. It just made my life so much easier. And these bullet points don't really have to do with the culture. It's more of goons' actions in game. And the first one is, I'm just going to read it word for word. First one being, goons do not like renting. All the big alliances of all the big alliances, we've had the smallest rental program. We only reluctantly got into it when OTech was broken and had to secure some income. We closed our rental program, but we keep it outward but we kept our word, and grandfathered our old renters so that they could stay and not lose what they agreed to. I think renting is a net bad thing for the game, actually very bad, so I'm proud of this one. Culture Goons have always opposed rental programs. So I kind of agree with the whole, like, renting is bad. For those who don't know, renting is basically you take a region, you then protect it, and you then essentially will rent it out to groups that want to come in. You know, you form an alliance, Corp Supply, and they come in and they'll rent specific systems. So they'll pay however much, you know, usually a few billion ISK a month to then rat, mine, and do all that stuff. The only thing about that is that you need to take space, and that space then goes to renters who don't really fight for it, and you end up, and if renting gets out of control, you can end up with multiple regions where small alliances really can't go up. They're essentially blocked off from small alliances to go up and take their own space because you've got this big rental empire that exists. They're the only, like, real big rental empire that I remember, like the biggest one I remember was Northern Associates, and that was one of those massive rental empires. And then of course you had the Drone Lands, or the Drone Region Federation, the DRF, which is now pretty much gone. Jayson, what are your thoughts on rental programs?
If rental programs didn't exist, you'd have a lot of space that would just be, like, unoccupied or unable to be, like, capitalized on as a whole. Because, like, realistically speaking, every major alliance in the game doesn't need as much space as they have, because their entire membership can be, like, satisfied and taken care of in probably half the systems they own, just with the nature of anomalies and just how many ways there are to gather resources in the game. Renting programs allow you to spread people out. It gets people out of high sec and enables them to, you know, be in null sec and kind of do their own thing and make their money in a protected way. Yeah, what I think it'd be is basically just big, open, empty areas of little tiny, like, tiny alliances just pitter-pattering against each other, until a big null block would come in and just trash them. And rental programs would have to happen no matter what, because you'd see all these little alliances running around doing their own thing, and you'd be taking advantage of them pretty quick.
Well, it's like here's the thing. Like, I don't like mind rental programs. I think that, yes, for the points you brought up with, there are definitely quite a few positives to them. What I don't like is you've got this one massive block that pretty much takes half the galaxy, and then it's like, okay, this half of the galaxy is now rental space, because it pretty much allows it pretty much shuts down anyone who wants to go out and take nullsec space, because what are they going to do? They're going to fight the big blocks? They can't do that.
Yeah, that's true, because it definitely shuts down any of the smaller groups from doing anything. But yeah, like, if a small group did do something and there wasn't any rental programs, then the big blocks would just own the space without a rental program, right? And just not use it. Or blew up small alliances so they can take that little bit of space. Like,
and so I think in the long run, like, I think rental programs are good if they're measured. Like, let's say you have a big alliance and you're just like, okay, well, this alliance, we want to take this region for us and maybe take half another region for renters. or like a big coalition is like, okay, we're going to take these few regions, and then we're going to have this one region as renter space. Like that, I don't really see a problem with. Especially with goons, like their entire coalition had like 3 regions.
Yeah,
One of those
yeah.
regions wasn't even really theirs. So the whole idea of like they're not taking big swaths of space and they're really condensing, like, yeah, that's true, and I think that is quote unquote a point for them.
Yeah, Horde and CPL took it to a new level when it came to ratting, but when you own all of drone regions, you can only use so much of it.
So, and here's another thing that they talked about, the Queries Fight Club. That I think is another point for them. I mean, Queries Fight Club, like that's just a good idea. Like I am in full support of the Queries Fight Club, and I'm happy that they kept that going. 100%.
Yeah, it's kind of like well, maybe not like Veil of the Silent, but Veil of the Silent had 3 or 4 smaller alliances in there, and it was cool. We when we lived in Imperium Reach, we deployed up there for a month or 2 just for content, and it was legit not having to worry about like bat phones and all that junk, and pretty cool for those alliances who don't have the numbers, don't have the skill points necessarily to compete with the bigger alliances, but still want to have that null sex holding gameplay. Yeah, I hope Corey's kind of stays how it is after everything goes down. I don't see why it wouldn't.
Yeah. So this one we already covered. Goons don't sprawl. We've held 4 regions, but 2 of those are more out of necessity. That again, we pretty much covered. Like, yeah, no, goons don't hold massive swaths of space for no reason. Which, again, I'd like to give them a point for that. Another thing too about that is that let's take the burning of the glassing of the north. Like when they glassed the north, they were like, all right, we glassed it, and then they went home, and then that allowed smaller groups to go in and pretty much take space. Like that wouldn't have happened if goons didn't come up there and murk the entire area of NCPL structures. So that I gotta give them credit for that.
Yeah, I don't think I was playing for that.
And again, I was like during that whole thing, I was mainly in test. Which, speaking of sprawl, yeah, test and legacy, they have a fuck ton of space. Like when you think the South, it's pretty much test. But at the same time, though, like they have a ton of small alliances that are part of legacy. So I really can't like go after them and say, oh well, you have too much sprawl. When well, no, like all that space is owned by various other alliances, and plus like Army of Mangoes, like they just straight up gave them space. So I really can't hold that against Test either. Even though like when you look at the map and you see Legacy Coalition, it's the entire South. Well, yeah, but Legacy Coalition is made up of, I don't want to say a fuck ton, but I'm pretty sure it's made up of like a lot of alliances.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Brave's pretty big. Army Mangoes. See, is Evictus a part of that? I think so.
Yeah, Evictus, Requiem Eternal, Federation Uprising. Like, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Whereas you've got like PanFam, which is what NCPL, Horde, and Slice.
Yeah, but I'd personally like to see more what Legacy's doing, where you have 10 or 12 smaller alliances than what PandaFam has, where it's Horde, PL, NC, and basically Frat, kind of. Like you have three big boys making one coalition, and then Legacy is basically like 10, 12 small dudes.
Yeah, but wait, doesn't Slice own the entirety of Ethereum Reach?
I mean, yeah, but
Like for no reason. Like I'm sorry, but Slice does not need all of Ethereum Reach.
well, that's what I'm saying though. It's like Slice could probably be in 2 constellations and be fine. Horde can be in TK only and be fine, like half of TK. You know, like as much space as there is, it's just not needed with the amount of players in the game right now. Like they came out with drone regions, I think in like 2009, and that's when you were getting like 40, 50, 60,000 players logging in like online at a time during US time zone. So yeah, sure. I mean, give us 7 more regions or whatever it is and let people spread out a little bit. I mean, you can't necessarily take space away from people. Unless what their plan is with the trig invasions is to push people out of low sec and into null sec, I don't know, or like high sec into null sec. But I mean, yeah, like space, real estate is not an issue at all right now. The problem is the people who own the real estate are pretty hard to move, which is why it takes 2/3 of the map to attack 4 regions. Like, that's literally what's going to be going on for the next 4, 5, 6 months. Now that Fountain's done, it's going to take a while just to get through Delve. And it's just there's so much space, but so much of it, at least in Fountain, right, has gone undefended. And sure, that's just because they retreated, but the amount of space that's there for the alliance that was living in it, like Initiative was living in all of Fountain. With Bastion, I know Bastion was there and a couple other smaller groups, but it's just a lot of space for the people that were there. Definitely not necessary. Could facilitate the same level of money making in a lot smaller space. But anyways,
So there's one last point. Oh, there's actually 2. There's the point of goons forced all players of the game. Essentially, they forced the whole like taking in of newer players. While yes, they did that, that was a long time ago, and I feel like if you're talking about goons now and how goons now aren't the good, are the quote unquote good guys, like, okay, yeah, you forced everyone. You were one of the first alliances to take in new bros, but nowadays I feel like I don't know. I feel like that's not really much of a thing anymore. Like saying that, oh yeah, we were the first ones to do it. Okay, well, there are so many other alliances that take in new bros now that I don't really think you can say, oh, look at us, we were the guys that originally took in new bros, we're the good guys. I don't know.
yeah, it's too far gone because now every single alliance has it. Like, yeah, Dreadit, Brave Newbies, Horde, like everybody has a new bro.
Like I do think that they should be given credit for being one of the first alliances to do that, but at the same time, if you're going that far back, because that's, I don't know, it doesn't sit right with me, and I don't know why. Even though it probably should. Even though like I want to give that to goons. Like I want to say, okay, yes, this. I don't know. It's weird. I just don't think it holds up, and I don't know why. This is the last point before actually we end the show because we've actually gone 10 minutes over, which is kind of surprising. Right? And this last one is, and according to Ash's post, it's his personal favorite. Goon doctrines are more interesting. If you've been watching the war, like they haven't been using units. You know, they've been using Imperium forces have been using stuff like sacrileges, Baltecs, and Zealots, I think.
Battleborns, yeah.
And to me, like that's pretty cool. Like
Yeah, totally. They got
Yeah.
legit doctrines, dude. Like, and they can field them.
like using mutants all the time. Like, I'm sorry, but that shit gets boring. But at the same time, like, we don't use mutants all the time. Like, our alliance, like Horde in general, uses all sorts of kinds of ships. Like, we use Feroxes, ANIs, Jackdaws, Eagles, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, you guys use a variety of doctrines, but so does Horde, and I know Test does too.
Well, the difference is that their doctrines are more skill intensive and more ISK intensive. In Horde, generally speaking, you have a lot of newer players, and the idea is to get them into the effective ships as quickly as possible. So Ferox is a T1 battlecruiser using medium guns. There's T1 fits for it. You can get into that ship fairly quickly. Jackdaws aren't necessarily a super long train, but you're getting into missiles, and that's all changed. The most skill intensive doctrine we have is basically Eagles Mutants, and that's basically a baseline doctrine for any other major alliance or major coalition. Like, and we have doctrines below that because we're facilitating newer players and lower skill points as a whole, which is fine. It's still effective.
Then, like, you look at the, I mean, you look at the Ferox doctrine. Like, if you're training into a Ferox, like, part of that training applies to Eagles as well. So, like, the medium guns. Well, Eagles use medium guns. Granted, it's not too much crossover, but there is crossover. Which, again, just makes training easier.
Yeah,
So,
that's one thing I hated when it's like, okay, train this blaster doctrine for a T2 ship. Now train this missile doctrine for a T2 ship. And it's like, what happens as a new player is you basically have to choose and kind of gamble on, okay, which fleet do I think is going to hop on more often so I can be mainline DPS? And then when you're mixing armor doctrines and shield doctrines, I understand that you have to do that on this big of a scale. But still, you're basically doubling the amount of skill points you need to field all the DPS ships. Okay, cool, Corporation Concordiate, we're like super new bro friendly, and when we were hardcore in that, we basically only did shield doctrines, and most of our doctrines were cruiser down, all T1. I think we had like one battle cruiser doctrine, if that. And that's just because we wanted dudes to get into mainline DPS as quickly as possible before they lost interest in the game, burnt out, or just decided it wasn't for them. So I mean, Artie Thrashers was like our biggest thing ever because you can train into it in like 2 days. But yeah, on a organization this big, you need to have doctrines that are vast and multifaceted, and that can handle multiple situations. So that's why you have Eagles, Mutants, ANIs, Feroxes, Jackdaws.
personally, I'm really excited to fly an Eagle. It's just I haven't actually gone through and bought it. I've actually, so still going along with the post. I promise we'll end the show. Just we got one more post to go over. But in this post, word for word, it says, I won't name because I'm pretty sure he gets off of being recognized, who's been making the argument that Test are more goony than goons. And to him, I say I agree with you. Test have inherited the mantle of goons, and we became something else. Villy is goons without growth. PGL tried to destroy us in 2016 and thought we'd cave in like a rotten pumpkin, because that's what happened with his alliance. I mean,
Well,
I don't know about Test being more goonier than goons, but I mean, I've never been in Goons. I've been in Test, though. Never been in Goons.
Like, for them to say Test is more Goonier than Goons leads me to believe that they recognize what Test is doing, and it's just being that, like, internet meme lord, right? And you can kind of draw parallels from Test and Goons because they both originated from out of game forums. Well, Test being Reddit and Goons being something awful. And those cultures, those internet cultures, kind of are the same in a lot of ways. So, I mean, it's like the Spider-Man meme, dude. Like both of them pointing at each other. You're kind of the same, and that's cool. But I think a lot of the out of game stuff that Goons have done have been kind of more impactful and more hurtful than what Tess has done. But I mean, I'm sure you can find enough situations and events for both sides to make them look like total douchebags.
Well, like, I mean, the thing with Test is that they've definitely got the memes down because one thing that they had during my time there was the Titan Diplo squad, which basically, if you pissed off the Diplos enough, they would drop Titans and kill your ratting ship. That actually happened with a pilot by the name of Scruff McGruff, where he was constantly causing mining drama. I know, fucking mining drama. Literally, I'm gonna go off on a tangent. If you are the type of motherfucker that causes mining drama, then please just stop. Just what you're doing, just stop. Because holy shit, like it's just fucking mining. Like mining's not even a good source of income anymore. Okay? Like, and it sucks because the amount of shit that got put in place because of mining drama in Test was just so stupid. Like the whole like people cherry picking. Okay, if someone's fucking cherry picking, then yeah, they're an asshole. Go to a different system. Like, I'm sorry, but there are like Test has an entire fucking region all with anomalies. All right. And it's not like those ratting anomalies where, okay, certain systems have certain numbers. No. Every system has the same amount of ore and the same amount of ore anomalies. Like, if someone's being a douchebag, go to a different system. That's literally how you fix the problem. And to the person being a douchebag and cherry picking, fuck you. And I'm going to get off my soapbox now because I've pretty much said what I was going to say.
Yeah. Gurgoons, whatever, you know.
Of course, we had to do a Gurgoon. But yeah, anyway, that's show's been going on for roughly an hour and 18 minutes now, so we'll probably end up here. Next week we'll probably be going over the Olmeca's. I haven't read Olmeca's response yet, but it promises to be a very interesting one. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching. If you're tuning in late, don't worry. I will be doing a premiere of this very same episode tomorrow on YouTube. The link to our YouTube page, if you look at the, if you go to Between Two Keepstars Twitch page, look for the little YouTube icon, click that, it'll bring you to the channel, subscribe, do all that stuff, and it'll be posted there. Which I'm happy I could get a little subscribe in there because, you know, you always got to show for yourself. But yeah, Jayson, any final thoughts you want to wrap up with?
No, it's been going good. Hopefully we have some more structure to talk about. Hopefully a whelp or two, and maybe a super capital engagement. Maybe, possibly. We'll see.
And no more marshals.
No marshal deaths.
Anyway, guys, take care. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. And I'll see you guys next week.